You're probably going to be looking towards Cunha to take the mantle from Mbeumo.
That was a please not in public, lads. That's what cameras are on. Stop it.
Don't know if Shea Lacey is going to make an appearance at some point. I was pretty disappointed that he didn't come on yesterday.
Way they started that second half, I'm looking at him going, boy, why are you not starting a game like that?
Because of AFCON to see whether they can play, which is really frustrating because if we played on the Sunday or Saturday, they'd definitely be allowed to play. But because we play on the Monday, they might not be able to.
But we can't because we're a day later. How does that make sense?
Well, ladies and gents, you want to listen to this episode of the pod. It's me, it's Dan, it's Nick. We're here to celebrate a 4-1 win. United, no, we're not back, mate. We just beat Wolves. Let's be honest, probably one of the worst teams you'll ever see in the Prem. We missed the episode after West Ham because it was all a bit hot and fast after 2 games in 3 days. So we'll run through both of them. We'll briefly speak about West Ham, let's be honest. We'll speak about Wolves, speak about Mount, speak about the game, first half, second half, and we'll preview the Bournemouth game towards the end. Nick, how you doing, mate? You decided to go away. Where'd you go, by the way?
I went to Amsterdam for 3 nights, so that was good. It was one of those where I've been to Amsterdam before, but it was a proper 18-year-old boys, nothing organised. We just turned up and just did whatever. So
come on,
this time
there's got to be a good story there.
This time it was do the proper stuff. We went with the missus, so it was Anne Frank Museum and all this and that. So it was good.
Boo. Mate, to be fair, Amsterdam's the sort of place where you can whatever time you want to have. You can have. If you want to be cultural, you can do that. If you want to be a nutcase, you can just go and get lost down the back alleys. Dan, have you ever been to Amsterdam?
No, I haven't. No, it's on my list. I need to get there.
Come on. Can you imagine Dan in Amsterdam? Jeez.
Nutcase.
I want to do that. I have to do a little cheeky away day.
I'm not about that life.
Yeah, you are. You're not until you go to Amsterdam, and then it all goes. All bets are off, mate. Jeez, what a spot. Anyway, I want to do a whole pod about Amsterdam now. Jeez.
That'd be fun pod.
Look,
that'd be fun pod.
Right, West Ham, right? Let's kind of briefly speak about it. In a 30-second nutshell, United had another opportunity. They ballsed it up. Don't even need 30 seconds to really do that. 1-0 up. They weren't playing that great. The goal from Delo was a pretty decent finish. Then United kind of did what they do before, sat back a little tiny bit. West Ham weren't particularly good, I'll be honest. So they got back into the game. And then I think there was a lot of scorn towards Amram's subs, Dan, after that game, because I don't know whether... Have I just been ignoring it? Have I just been overlooking Amram's more defensive subs compared to how other fans are? Or is it a major problem, do you think? Or is it a reflection of the squad that we've got? Where does it lie?
A bit of both, I think. I think with the centre-halves being changed out when United need a goal, I don't understand, and many fans don't understand, why he wouldn't just go gung-ho at the end. I saw Cesc Fabregas give an interview, I think a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't just speaking about Amram, but just in general, and he was like, if you're losing a game, you need to bring on as many as attackers as possible, because why would you bring another defender on? It doesn't make sense, or swap a defender.
I mean, I think that's the thing. We were 1-0 up, and then he brought Ugarte on, and then they conceded, and then we had Martinez come on for sure, which I can kind of understand that. Some of the certain subs I understood, but I can't be fucking arsed speak about the West Ham game. I'll be totally honest, because it's just who wants to talk about that? I'd rather talk about the Wolves game. This Wolves game, it's a 4-1 win. Right, first things first. Let's get the good things out of the way, because there's plenty of good things. And it's the thing, right, Dan, and both of you really. You can only beat who's in front of you. Wolves are rock bottom of the Prem. I was worried that United were going to slip up on this banana skin, and it was a hell of a banana skin. A team who hadn't scored in over 500 minutes, had lost every game under Rob Edwards. New manager bounce, my arse. They are just bad, a very bad football team. And then we go and concede the equaliser just for half-time, and you're thinking, you absolute twats. And Nick, I was worried that they were going to come out in that second half and just be cumbersome. The way they started that second half, I'm looking at it going, boy, why are you not starting a game like that? You can do it. I swear it's a choice thing. In the second half, we kind of blew them away, really. And it was a very good second half against inferior opposition, but we did what we needed to do. I call it professional win.
Yeah, in the lead up to their goal, the sort of 10 minutes prior to their goal, I thought to myself, I don't like this, because we were allowing pressure onto ourselves, because there was just moments where we were just letting them get on the ball, and it's like we clear it, but we don't get hold of it, and we can't keep it. And this goes back to my point, which I made after Forest, where I say sometimes we end up playing at the tempo that the opponents want to play in. So in that moment when Wolves wanted to step it up, we can't find the way to just slow it down. We need someone to just get on the ball, find the man in space, and just keep the ball for a little bit. We can't do that yet, which then brought their goal. And I remember thinking to myself, Wolves haven't scored since October. What was it, like 540 minutes? Of course, with the side that they go and score against. And then I thought, hold on, they haven't had a Premier League win against anyone this season. Please don't let it be us that they get it. So yeah, look, the second half was positive. And I have to say, you've touched on it there, but Wolves were awful. And I mean, like they know they're going down awful. Like there was gaps all over the shop. There was individual mistakes. I mean, who was it that Casemiro pressed to win the ball for the first goal? Was it
Andre?
Andre. It's just poor. I mean, you can't. There's no real explanation for that. It's just a poor quality football. So good things to look at in terms of, you know, some of the attacking play. The most shots we've had under Ruben Amorim in any game. So that's something good to take away. But my biggest thing was, it just shows that for United right now, when there is space to be exploited with the likes of Mbeumo, Ahmad, Cunha, Bruno, we do well to work in those spaces. It's when a side like a West Ham, for example, come and sit in and say break us down, that's where we struggle. But yeah, it was good to see Wolves were vulnerable, but we did what we had to do. And again, we go in 3 weeks against Wolves?
Oh, I tell you what, that little cheeky back-to-back, we timed that very well. Come on, the boys. We should be pumping them at Old Trafford as well. But mate, this season, we keep speaking about it week in, week out, right? It's just, when it comes to United being back at the top, it's like probably two things got to happen at the same time. Well, not necessarily, but basically. Number one is United are better and they keep improving and being consistent week in, week out. Results are getting better. Number two, everybody around us might dip a little bit. And that's just been happening across the board all season. Apart from that, City right now, I think they're 5 from 6. They're looking like middle of March City. Arsenal should be probably shitting themselves right now, I'll be totally honest, because they're looking like they're cranking it up a couple months early. Liverpool, oh mate, how good is it just to be on like the viewing side of this shit for once? Like,
it's been a while.
Oh man, it couldn't happen to a nicer club. Fucking hell, I just want to take a little moment for that.
You know what? We saw a glimpse of it in Klopp's last year. Do you remember that? Like, there was a period there where Salah fell out with Klopp and all this and that. We saw it then, but this is like, mate, this is HD 3D. This is fantastic. I'm loving it,
mate. Carragher, you see Carragher's little like, man, he'd been saying that speech in the mirror for like every single day since. He'd been prepped. And was it Dave Jones called him out? He goes, when have I ever called him out in mid-game? He goes, well, you literally said his legs are gone like last game. And he was like, apart from that. He got caught in the headlights. Oh, it's spectacular to watch. I don't really think it's going away anytime soon, by the way, either.
No.
Doesn't look like it.
I'm guessing that Salah wants Slot sacked, and that's why he's spoken out. It's the only other reason he would do that.
And is he the only one that wants him sacked?
Shame. Anyway, tune in next week for the next episode. Anyway, back to United. But 4-1 win, and as I said, there's two ways that United get back to the top. One, we get better consistently. Two, the rivals drop off. But of all the mad stats this season, United being in 6th is right up there. United having scored the 3rd most goals this season behind Arsenal and City is right up there. And this is a question I want to ask both of you, right? Do you think that this whole time, whilst fans and all of us have been up and down, riding the roller coaster of emotions game by game, that Wilcox and Barada, they're all sitting there going, no, man, the strategy's working. Like, we've signed Šeško, we signed Mbeumo, we signed Cunha, we signed goal scorers. We know that across the course of this season, we're going to score enough goals that's probably going to get us into the top. I don't think they could have predicted that the rest of the league would stumble in the way that they did, but that's an added bonus, and it means that as much as defensively, there's so much to work on, and it's really fucking ironic that Amorim, with his system, with so many defenders, we're conceding so many goals. But Dan, do you think that, as I said, Wilcox and Barada are sitting there looking, going, well, it's kind of working, I'll be honest. Like, we're scoring enough and we'll continue to score enough. And that's probably enough to get us into the top 6, which was ultimately the intention this season.
Yeah, I think they probably are, because the structure and the spine of the team's there. It might not be doing its job to the maximum that we think it can do, but I think just having the right players and the structure helps massively, and then you can build from that, and that's when the players start to come accustomed to what Amorim wants in his system and the style of play that he wants to play. So from that point of view, I can certainly see why they're quite calm. It's just, like we mentioned before, it's the inconsistencies of losing against Everton, the West Ham game, and then all of a sudden they can go and give Arsenal a really good game, lose 1-0, but then beat Brighton 4-2. It's a bit all over the shop. So consistency, like you say, is so important.
I mean, if you're looking at like Amorim's system and the players, like I'm not even sure that he's really got that much suited. Like you look at so many players are playing in the positions that they probably shouldn't be playing in, and therefore you're not getting the most out of them. Nick, you've mentioned that multiple times on the pod. But like ultimately, the strategy of this season, given that we overlooked the midfield, we didn't really have any intention of controlling games going into the season. Amorim might have. That's why he wanted a central midfielder, but Wilcox said, no, we're signing a striker. We need more goals. And right now, as I said, we're second or third in the XG table, up there with Arsenal and City, and we're third behind them. And we're actually second in the last 9 games. Only Man City have scored more goals than United in the last 9 Premier League games. It does not feel like that, man. It doesn't. The games are. It's a bit fucking weird, Nick. If I'm honest.
Yeah, and it's because, like what Dan said, there, it's dropping points against West Ham and Everton. That's kind of like in recent times, anyway. And you can look back at the Nottingham Forest Spurs game, which were both frustrating in their own sense. But the Wilcox thing is quite funny because wasn't there a little spat between Sir Jim and Jason up in the stands after Wolves' goal yesterday?
I saw that.
Yeah.
When was that photo taken? Because I saw it like going around.
I can't confirm. I've heard that it was after the Wolves goal, but like I said, I can't. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, it would make sense.
All I saw was Barada just in the middle, like, lads, let me out. I'm stuck. Nah, don't want to be in this argument, bro.
That was a please not in public, lads. That's what cameras are on. Stop it.
Wait until you're home, all right? Yeah. Don't do this again.
Exactly. But no, I mean, I think, are they satisfied? I don't think so just yet, simply because, so as a fan watching, I'm still not at the point where I can say, right, I'm convinced that, we're going down the right pathway and this is how we get back to the top. I'm still not quite there. My main problem is still the midfield, because when you talk about how we got 5 defenders on the pitch but still conceding goals, it's because teams are constantly able to break through us through the middle of the pitch and are running at our defenders while we're running backwards. That happens far too many times, and that's where a lot of goals that we concede come from. Even the West Ham goal against us, which was a corner, the way they win the corner is a direct ball into central areas, and we can't win it because we haven't got enough men in there. So my argument is like, signs are positive, but I don't think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe in particular is looking at this entirely happy. I think he's open to still seeing where things go, and I don't think they're going to be too quick to jump the gun on any decision, but I still think there's some question marks, as I think there is with most fans at the moment, to be fair.
Man, I'll be honest, like, yeah, you're being pretty fair here. I think you're being dead kind. Like, there's more than one question mark. I don't think there'll be, even the most optimistic United fan won't be sitting there going, yeah, man, yeah, good, yeah, really happy with what I'm seeing, because you don't know what's going to come week from week. But yeah, just like those numbers, just as I said, I think this is probably the ultimate frustration for United fans. It's like last few years we've just had to sit there and just like watch Liverpool swing it around and like watch, or who's going to win the league this year? Is it Liverpool or City? Oh, fucking great, yeah, good conversation. Oh, Arsenal won't win it. They'll do Arsenal again. But for years we've had to sit there and watch that. And finally, at a time when Liverpool are imploding, City looked like they were early this season, but they've kind of turned it around. It's an opportunity for United to actually step out of a space we've occupied for so long as a football club and just let the conversation exist about other people. And that is an opportunity that we're not taking, and we keep dragging ourselves back into the point and laugh at them pit. And we've got Bournemouth next. And the thing I liked about Mason Mount against Wolves was, number one, he said it himself, he was having fun when he was playing. I don't think United players do that enough because of the pressures of being a United player, and they kind of overthink things. Cunha, if you're going to talk about one player who's overthinking everything, all that dude can think about is, fuck, I haven't scored. I still haven't bloody scored. Like, dude, it's not just about the goals, man. Like, there was no United fan that was angry with him in the first 10 games or so. His influence was maybe not just as important as the goals, but we knew the goals would come. This guy's begging. This guy's just like, he'll get it in with his arse. He don't care, man. He wants that goal. But Mason Mount, on the other hand, he kind of felt a little bit Bruno-like in that game. He was dropping into those same positions that Bruno would occupy. And instead of it being Bruno passing through to Mount, it was Mount through to Bruno sometimes. Really nice pass that he made. I think it was that pass from Bruno was going across the Cunha and he fucked it up. Cunha would have had an open goal. He must have been pissed. But Dan, what do you make of Mount's season so far? And I suppose with Mbeumo going, who are you looking towards? Or who would you predict in these next 4 or 5 games to be the attacker that stands out for United?
Probably, obviously, Mbeumo and Ahmad going to AFCON along with Mazraoui. Mount's definitely up there. Seshko's meant to be coming back late December. And then also, of course, you've got Cunha and then obviously Bruno and behind. I don't know if Shea Lacey is going to make an appearance at some point. I was pretty disappointed that he didn't come on yesterday, if I'm being honest.
Yes, I was.
It's the perfect game to bring him on, especially 4-1 up. Probably is Mount or Cunha. Cunha he doesn't need a goal. This is the thing. We talk about Cunha not needing a goal. It's what he's doing for the team that's so impressive and important at the moment. But Mount does that as well at the same time. So for me, there's no definitive player. I think obviously that collective front line will be so important when those two do go off to AFCON. But Mount at the moment, I've been really impressed. He mentioned last night, I think in his post-match interview, he's playing with freedom at the moment, or he felt like the rest of the team were playing with freedom. And you could see it in his performance. Him and Bruno, like you mentioned, Sam, were technically brilliant. They dragged that Wolves team apart, really, I thought, in that second half. The shackles were off. We could really go at Wolves. And his goal against Sunderland, obviously his goal yesterday, really well taken and hell of a finish, by the way, on the volley. But my question is, why didn't he start against Everton and West Ham?
Cunha came back, didn't he, in that kind of... Well, I get those are the maybe games. Yeah, I would argue that, I would argue even those are games where you drop Xerxes. You know what I mean? Like, put Cunha in the 9, just like he did today. Cunha was still really effective. I know he's not as effective in the 9 as he is in the 10, but Xerxes certainly wasn't.
One thing I liked against Wolves was sometimes you ended up seeing Cunha dropping into Mbeumo. They were switching, which is, I think, I don't know whether it's the first time I was just like paying attention against Wolves when I don't in other games. But I didn't think I've seen it that often because I've always felt I want Cunha receiving the ball in those spaces we can run into. I'd rather have Mbeumo as the last man furthest forward in that system. I'd rather not play Cunha as a number 9 if I'm being completely honest. But like, you're probably going to be looking towards Cunha to take the mantle from Mbeumo because Mbeumo's won Premier League Player of the Month. He's delivering. He scored again. Cunha got an assist, I know, but he didn't get a goal. I think that's probably playing on his mind as well, Nick. It's just simply like, look at the impact because Mbeumo and Cunha, both Premier League proven, similar price players, similar experience, etc. And Mbeumo's won Premier League Player of the Month and nailing it in a United shirt. And Cunha wants that. He needs to get it for himself. He needs to grab it, but he was like a bull in a china shop, I think, is probably the best way to describe him against Wolves.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that obviously Cunha had that injury earlier on in the season, and then he also had that strange head injury, which was sidelined him for 2 games, so that disrupts his momentum. One thing I will say about Cunha is he always shoots a lot. So like even at Wolves, he picks up the ball, his first thought is to have a shot. Sometimes I don't mind that. Sometimes it does get a bit frustrating. Yesterday there were two chances at least where I look at, I think, you know, on another day, he'd probably take that. It could be playing on his mind. I hope it's not. I hope that he's got the maturity, and I think he does have the maturity to not really let that bother him. And if anything, he might look at this opportunity as, this is my month or so to really stand up and stand out. And Mount, I hope Mount can do the same. The thing is with Mount, where the difference is between Mount and Cunha, I think is Mount's got a better floor. You can kind of, once he gets going, you kind of expect a certain level of performance from him, whereas Cunha might drop a 4 out of 5 one week and then get you a 9 out of 10 the next week. He can be your talisman from time to time, whereas Mount will give you that sort of consistency over a long period of time. But, you know, under Thomas Tuchel, he was that right-sided number 10. Now, in this month when Bomo's gone, maybe Mount can take up that position and rather than playing on the left, he plays on the right, where he was effective for Chelsea. So, yeah, those two as a collective need to be really good because I don't expect much from Xerxes at the moment. The goal against Crystal Palace was really good, but I can't rely on him at the moment. Although I did hear Sesko could be back sooner than expected. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I think his agent, of course, his agent's called Elvis. Which is anyone called their kid Elvis these days? Like, do you ever bump into an Elvis?
That's wild.
Never.
No, you fucking don't, do you? You don't bump. Well, you do if you're Seshko's agent. So it's obviously bang. It's Slovenia. There's fucking loads of just everywhere. There's Elvis everywhere, and you go Slovenia. That was funny. Anyway, his agent said he might be back sooner rather than later. I think the Bournemouth game is the first. You might see him back in the squad training this week, maybe. But if you're looking at how United have handled injuries so far, it's been very cautious with everybody. So I imagine rule him out of Bournemouth, and then Villa might be a conversation, potentially. But then you're looking at Villa and Newcastle, which are two big old games in between Wolves and Bournemouth. And like that Bournemouth game, if you had asked me 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, I'd be like, well, that's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be a sticky one. Mate, Bournemouth they're in a hell of a bad run of form. What's their actual run of? They like not one in. They got one in 5.
2 wins in the last 10, and they've not won in 6 straight.
What about Semenyo? Is he still banging them? Is he still banging them in?
Yeah, he's got 6 goals.
Yeah, but recently though, yeah, and the way I know that is that everyone is transferring them out of their FPL teams. So...
The selected percentage is going down.
Yes.
Mate, do you want to know how quickly I forgot about that? I've still got fucking Mo Salah in my team.
You're probably still above me in the league.
That's how
I've been doing rubbish.
Mate.
Let's pick it up.
Jesus. I forgot we put a forfeit on that league, didn't we? Shit.
No, don't.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. Whoever loses got to pay for Amsterdam trip. That's all I heard.
Hey, I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as I said, a while ago I would have been looking at Bournemouth going, like, we've had some bad results against them over the last few years. Same thing as Brighton, I suppose. How do United approach this game, Nick? Like you're saying correctly, by the way, you play against a team like West Ham, closed disciplines, it's going to be tough. Bournemouth don't really strike me as... Iraola doesn't really strike me as a manager who does that at any point, really.
No, he's very much out of the sort of Marco Bielsa like mold in terms of like man-to-man pressing, really aggressive, in your face, and this is what's really important as well. This week we're going to find out what's going to happen with Mbomo Ahmad. Because of AFCON to see whether they can play, which is really frustrating because if we played on the Sunday or Saturday, they'd definitely be allowed to play. But because we play on the Monday, they might not be able to. Really frustrating because this is a game in particular for Mbomo, for Ahmad, because if Man United can bait them into the press a little bit and then find those long passes to Mbomo to Ahmad, that can be a real threat for us. Another thing as well is Bournemouth, when they press, they go really one-sided. So those switches of play can really be important for us as well. Another thing to note though is Iraola is quite adaptable. So what we see, the way we see him play, against an Everton or a West Ham, whatever it may be, he may adapt to how he wants to play against us. But they're not going to sit in. I can almost certainly say that for sure. They are quite a rapid side in transition. So if you lose the ball in central areas, you're in trouble because they do pack that midfield. Their wingers can get quite narrow at times. So centrally, I'm a little bit worried, as I feel like I am pretty much every week with Man United right now. But yeah, they're a side who are going to give us spaces. They're going to give us chances. It could end up being a high-scoring game because Bournemouth do concede, we concede. I think both teams have a very good chance of scoring a few. Luckily for us, like you said, they're coming into it out of form, and none of their players are really popping off at the moment. Like we said, Semenyo's gone quiet. Evan Nilsson's not really getting on the score sheet. So I'm not sure where the goals come from for them, but they have the ability to score. Of course they do.
I'm just looking at the last few games. Like they drew against Chelsea, didn't score against Everton, lost to Sunderland. They were 2-0 up in that game, weren't they?
Yeah.
They lost 3-2. Drew 2-2 against West Ham. Ooh, stinky. Lost 4-0 against Villa and lost 3-1 against City. And then Forest on the 26th of October was their last... Was that the last win?
2-0, was it?
2-0 against Forest was their last win. 26th of October. Oi, 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 oi.
They should have scored against Chelsea, though, I have to say. Like, it was an interesting game because it felt like both teams went for a very similar approach. Both pressed, both went man-to-man. And I think Bournemouth came out of that on top in terms of chances created, but they just couldn't put them away. So... yeah, make of that what you will. But they create chances against Chelsea.
If you're looking at that game against Bournemouth, then, like, do you think there's any chance that Martinez starts?
Probably. I mean, he's featured, come off the bench in the last 2?
He came off the bench for 10 minutes against Palace, and then I think the same against West Ham, and then he got 25, 30 against... Yeah. So that's 3. So it's been built up towards probably ready for 60 minutes ish.
What's going to be interesting is to see where he starts in that back three, because I know you mentioned it today, Sam, about does he start as the central centre back or does someone like Kevin start?
I really don't think you'll see Martinez ever start as a central centre back, but I think it's interesting that Amram used him because I think as the game progresses, maybe the game opens up a little bit and you're not playing against like a more traditional centre forward, then that space might then be better for Martinez to then control it from deep, because that's, mate, he's just like, I was watching, what's his name? Is it Joe from Stretford Paddock just speak about Martinez today, and he was just saying that you kind of forget how nice it is to watch a player who's that fucking good at just finding just the technique on the passes. It's stuff like you don't really want to like wax lyrical and like go on about too much when you haven't seen it for a while, and then you see it, you go, ha, that's what it looks like. There you go. That's the ticket right there.
Especially so, I think if you do end up getting Luke Shaw in that left wing back role, that's such an upgrade technically to where we were. Like, obviously before we had Luke Shaw and Adalo. Luke Shaw can do bits, but I think Luke Shaw is very good on the overlap, not so much in that deep area. Like if you was it against Rangers where Martinez whipped in a really nice ball for Bruno to win us the game right at the end. I want to see so many more of those for Sesko. He even put one in against West Ham, which didn't get us goal, but
I've got to butt in here. I swear to God, right? If Sesko comes back from injury and then we stop pumping crosses in.
Surely not.
That's sabotage. That's straight sabotage if that happens.
But the funny thing is, I think that's exactly what we're going to see because against Bournemouth, Villa, and Newcastle, we're not going to have possession as much as we did before. So, like, naturally, we're not going to have as many chances to spam crosses in. So, I actually think in those immediate three, there's going to be less.
Benjamin, man, sorry, man. At some point, you'll get. We'll do it. At some point,
30th of December against Wolves.
Hey, hold it. Come on, hat trick of headers. Has anyone ever scored a hat trick of headers for United?
Ooh,
that's a great question.
It
is a great question. But I've got no idea. Rooney scored 2 at San Siro.
Or we could do
against
it
Milan.
Put it in the comments.
Hey, look, anybody listening, reach out, email us. That's the question for this week. Has anyone ever scored a hat trick of headers? They mustn't have. That must be well hard to do. Who the fuck scored a hat trick of headers?
I mean, that's hard to do anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
Never mind, do it for United. Like, I don't know. Like,
Hernandez?
someone's on ChatGPT finding out.
Someone's done it in the
that's cheating,
1920, haven't they? We just don't know.
I'll be honest. I don't really know what to predict this game against Bournemouth because I want to look into it a little bit more. But just like off the cuff predictions, Dan, I'm coming to you first because I don't want to be first.
Well, I've seen us ship 6 goals in the last 2 seasons against Bournemouth at home, both obviously in the 3-0 results. So I'd like that to change a little bit, like many people would. So I'll go for a 2-1 United win.
You might be, but you might be the bad fucking luck charm.
Maybe it shouldn't go. Yeah, just sell my ticket on.
Nick, was it the Bournemouth game you tried to take your mum to at one point?
Yes,
Come on.
it was. I was gonna bring it up.
Come on, come on. If anybody who hasn't, if anybody who missed that episode, can you enlighten people?
Mum's a big United fan, like myself, always has been. I decided, you know what? She's never been Old Trafford. Let's go Old Trafford. Book the tickets. Bournemouth. Drive up there in the rain. It's pouring down with rain. It was bad right from the off because Rashford was injured. Højlund doesn't start. Martial starts, which at the time, Martial wasn't really on form. We lose 3-0. It could have been 4 if it wasn't for VAR. Leave the ground, walk 20 minutes in pouring rain, and have a 3.5-hour drive back, drenched. And we're both wearing jeans as well. You know when jeans get wet, it's just like, they don't dry easy. Do you know what I mean? So it's so bad. And the fact that was her first experience, we did correct it later by going to Sheffield where we won 4-2. So that was kind of like, all right, redeemed ourselves a little bit. But for that reason, Bournemouth at home has haunted me since last season. But you know what? I feel confident in this one. I'll be honest. I feel okay. Partly because of Bournemouth's form going into this. Partly because I know United are better in big spaces, and I think Bournemouth might leave us big spaces. The only thing is, if there's no Mbomo, if there's no Ahmad, my confidence gets slashed, like in half. So that's a big factor in this. It
feels like United are pretty confident. That I think, like, was it last season where we just like finished the game, Onana bopped on a private plane for Cameroon, and it's like, I imagine they're probably going to do the same thing.
I think there was quite a bit of backlash, wasn't there, in Africa and Cameroon about that. Yeah.
Oh shit, I remember that because he then landed and then got stuck somewhere else and then had some mad journey and like I think missed the first game, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know if they'd want that again. But equally, it's not fair because if teams in the same game week in the Premier League are getting to field players who are going to go and play for AFCON, but we can't because we're a day later, how does that make sense?
Mate, Sunderland, right? Like Sunderland have got like 9 players who are going AFCON. They're playing Newcastle in the first time we're derby on Sunday. Like if that game had been on a Monday night, they would have been fucked. But they're not anyway. Right, prediction wise, look, I've learned. Have I learned? I don't know. I'm back. I'm confident again. I'm hoping United go into this in the same way that we approached Brighton. Like with Brighton, it surprised me a bit, but we actually allowed them to have the ball for the opening 10-15. And like we used pressing triggers, but we weren't just like hounding them down at Old Trafford sometimes that you do, like running, because I think if you do that at the beginning, that will suit Bournemouth. So maybe it's just going to be a case of like just not sitting off and let them have as much futile possession in their own half as you want, but then maybe do a mid. Hey, Sod knows about the tactics, man. I'd love United to get a clean sheet, but I don't know whether one's going to come anytime soon, if I'm being honest. I think it'll be a bit of our defence. Delict's, who's going to be there? Delict, Heaven, Martinez? Don't really know. I'm going to go for a 2-1 United, which is the typical result you go for when you want to win and you think you should win. But you might not. Sort of result.
Yeah, and we've come to learn expect the unexpected with this Amorim side at the moment. It's funny enough, I actually said, do you remember in the group chat a few weeks ago, I said we're probably going to beat Palace and then lose to West Ham, which we didn't lose to West Ham, but I wasn't close enough. I wasn't far off. The
close
one
enough.
game we didn't expect to win, we won. Like I said, I'm feeling confident. Clean sheet, 2-0. Do you know what I mean? Le Mans. Well, so he hasn't kept a clean sheet. Well, I say we haven't kept a clean sheet since Sunderland, wasn't it? A 2-0, which was Le Mans' first game. So why not? Monday night, under the lights.
Mate, isn't it mad, by the way? Like, we've not fucking talked about a goalkeeper for 6 games in a row now.
Just like that.
Good, innit? It's nice, refreshing. Boom, just like gone. Immediately, just disappeared. A whole narrative.
It's so insane to me that, because I just think, I saw Ronaldo at Inter Milan. I did watch him at Inter Milan. It wasn't the same goalkeeper that we got at. What happened? I can't fathom, what happened there. And I know, the thing is, I think it was some Ajax coaches who did say, he's a bit awkward anyway. But anyway, tangent. Point being is, I don't know how we got to that position that we did with Andre Onana. But good to have Le Mans.
Big up the librarian in goal, man. This guy is a G.
Yes.
This guy's a real G. Be quiet.
God.
Stay there. Be quiet. That's it. Do your job. Right. I hope he's not busy. But look, Bournemouth is, of course, on Monday night. Arseholes. Mate, quick question to end this pod, right? What did you make of the Luke Littler standing? I'm not sure if you saw it, right? So Luke Littler was in the crowd. He was standing next to, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like Rick McGaw? Rick? Don't know. One of the two. Anyway, he's like the fan engagement officer that was employed by United, Nick, right? And he was standing right next to Luke Littler in the away end. And the day before, Luke Littler was on his Instagram story going, "Look, I'm looking for 3 Wolves away tickets." And then the next day, he's in the away end standing next to United's fan engagement officer whilst United fans are getting annoyed about away collection and the process of getting tickets. Doesn't really look good, lads. That's like fucking it's like copying an essay and you don't really change enough. Come on, change a few words. Don't stand next to Luke Littler if you're going to give him a ticket. Come on.
I've tried to see them play it off saying it was Adidas who gave them the ticket or gave him the ticket or the 3 tickets.
That's a coincidence.
But it is a bit weird considering how many season ticket holders can barely get an away game at the moment.
That's one thing that's been consistent really since Ineos came. Maybe not just since Ineos came in, but over the last few years, I'm being honest, just kind of the erosion of the match day experience and certain things happening for both at Old Trafford and away. It just feels like it's not as good as it was a few years ago, and maybe that's just getting older. Oh, it's better back in my day, sort of thing.
You can see it at Wembley as well. When we play Coventry, I know it's only Coventry, but in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, I could tell that a lot of the people in that end tickets had been sold onto them because it was nowhere near as loud as usual. So it's just those type of things.
Mate, that Coventry game, don't give me fucking PTSD.
I saw them in the
that.
FA Cup draw, and I was like, oh, no, thank you. Don't want them.
Of course we got Bright. Of course we got a nice home game against the Premier League club. Who could possibly have predicted such a thing?
While Man City get Exeter. Yeah, cheers, lads.
Yeah, cheers, boys. All right. Anyway, that's at Brighton 10th of Jan, something like that. I don't mind a little back-to-back against Brighton, same result. I'll take that. Might not be. We'll find out. But look, this week as well, because of how the games are, games on Monday night, so we'll record pod on Tuesday. We'll get that out next Wednesday. Then we've got Villa on the Sunday after that. I don't know what's happening, and it's Christmas. Hey, come on. We should probably do like a little Christmas quiz pod or something. I hadn't even thought about that.
I'll do that. I need to get a Christmas hat, actually. Get that
Yeah, you
ordered.
do.
I love how
Vinted.
Come on, mate.
that was his first thought.
Yeah. Oh, and I need to plan it
Christmas
as well, yeah. I forgot about that.
Fucking need a Christmas hat. Oh. Well, go and get your Christmas hat sorted and we might sort of quiz. But look, if you enjoyed the pod, leave a comment, leave a 5-star review, whatever you can. We haven't done a mailbag in a while. But yeah, podcast@unitedpeoples.tv if you want to send any questions, or just reach out to us on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere. Leave a comment. We'll try and read a few out. Take it easy, everyone. 4-1, by the way. Yes, please.